And when he says to Lori, she's like, I don't, what I put Rook through, I put him in Shane at odds. You know who doesn't give a shit about that? This baby. It was
Yeah,
just so nice.
exactly.
And then they push into the prison, they get surrounded. And this whole time, I'm thinking, I guess this is the episode, right? Where he gets his leg out. There's only a few minutes left. Is it going to happen right now? And then he stepped near this quiet one and got bitten. I'd forgotten that's what happened. And I
Yep.
can't remember what we thought at the time. Did we think he's a goner? Because we didn't know. This is where we
Didn't
also
know.
learn another sort of tenet of The Walking Dead, that if you get bitten and it's an extremity and you chop it off in time, you won't turn,
Hmm.
which had an impact through the rest of the series. I was trying to think, yeah, because we saw a lot of, amputees, but it turns out most of the amputees were for some other reason, not because they got bit, like Aaron and
Yeah.
Carl's eye and even Merle. But
Mhm.
Tyrese, they cut his, I think, arm off, but it was too late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we always thought that, though. Like, it was always like, if someone got bitten, they made a point to show that it was on the neck or torso, and you were like, okay, nothing can be done about that,
I feel like Tyrese was like upper arm, so it was
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Close. Yeah. So anyway, Rick right away, like, the only one way to keep you alive. And he sounds like he knows for sure, but he's just guessing, right? He
Hmm.
doesn't know.
Hmm.
And
Unless it's that they had like a whole
they met somebody.
member of the group cut their bit off and then they were fine and then they
Right.
died and that's
Remember T-Dog's toe?
yeah. Or like remember Jimmy who we no there was a Jimmy.
Yeah.
Remember Andy who we never talk about? Yeah,
Yeah.
that happened to him, you
We
know,
saved them from
like
becoming a zombie, and then they
they died.
died of cancer. No, I don't
Oh
know.
God.
That's horrible.
Dark.
Cancer
Got real
jokes.
dark.
Great. Sorry, guys. Anyway,
Jeez.
so let's get back to the
Yeah.
the limb chopping off. Much
Yep.
lighter. So I think Rick hits it 9 times, 8 or 9 times, and it's so brutal and gross. And I love that you see the prisoners there, like, holy shit.
What an entrance.
It's so funny.
Because the prisoners don't know they won't know shit. They don't know that like everyone's infected or like yeah, it
Who
must all
knows what they know? But I
oh my
remember them saying that Andrew Lincoln made a point to, even though he didn't have to be there during their reaction shots, that he still went through that scene again
oh
just to
amazing.
get their reaction, when they were filming them. So that's really cool. He was that
That's
kind of
great.
guy. But I still don't remember. I probably, Karen and I were like, so do you think he's going to make it or not? At this point
Yeah.
with
You
Herschel.
would you wouldn't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, we would know for sure. I mean, I think I probably thought it was kind of dumb that you would survive, because it seems like, well, I don't know. I don't know how fast things spread through the bloodstream. I don't know.
Mm. I know if your adrenaline's up, it'll go a lot quicker because your blood's pumping faster, but yeah. Who's to say?
But whatever, it's zombies, so it's
Zombie
fine.
logic.
All right, what do you got next? Anything else?
Nothing else, just notes for me. How about you?
I had a little bit about when they first found and began to clear the prison. Once they get there, Rick starts shouting out orders. Glenn, Maggie, and Beth, draw as many as you can over there. He points, pop them through the fence. Daryl, go back to the other tower. Carol, you've become a pretty good shot. Take your time. We don't have a lot of ammo to waste. Herschel, you and Carl take this tower. I think one cool thing about Rick, and we saw this when he was planning search parties for Sophia too and other things, that he's quick with the tactics.
Yeah,
He
he's a good strategic thinker.
yeah, just coming up with really fast and delegating tasks and roles and being really decisive in a moment like that. And maybe that's his police training. But I mean, like, yeah, it worked really well with the yard, but not so much when they went inside the prison. So
He also doesn't let Glenn do the suicide run, which I liked. He does it himself.
yeah,
Because last season Glenn was doing all the shit jobs, and this one Rick
I
did
think,
it.
yeah,
It's good.
they were making a point of that. Like, okay, we're not
Yeah,
going to do that to Glenn anymore.
yeah.
The writers, I mean. Okay, let's get into notes. What do you got?
I thought it was neat that they spotted that there were civilians in there, because part of me was thinking, wouldn't you just be worried that like the prison was already a community? But I like the way they kind of did some they did some kind of analysis of what was likely to have happened, and it turned out to be pretty accurate. And it is a gamble that does pay off, although horrible things do happen at the prison. I think it is something that you can completely understand why they're so keen to do it.
Yeah, I think the prison, on the plus side, it's very easy to secure. Prisons are secure. But on the negative side, and I think this should be at least somewhat of a factor, depressing as fuck to spend all your time there, you know?
I mean, part of me is like when Laurie's like, I'm giving birth in a prison. I'm like, bitch, you're alive in the zombie apocalypse. But another part of me is like, no, that's horrible. That is actually pretty gross. I do feel quite bad for her. Like,
and I think I was excited for them to get to the prison, but by the time they left, I was ready for them to get out of there too. If I remember right.
Bring on Terminus.
All right. A few notes. I'm glad the zombies still seem creepy and ominous, maybe more now than ever, or at least not. I mean, the pilot, they were pretty bad, but later on, they just sort of turn into fodder a lot of the times, like cattle almost. But here, the way they move and the creepiness coming up on the eye or over the one zombie shoulder that's just waiting in the house, it's really well done. Or even just like when T-Dog looks outside the house and they're approaching like Night of the Living Dead style, or even when they're camping and they're kind of milling around outside the fences, somehow that still seemed creepy to me. So they get the hang of shanking them through under the chin, and that's a quick way to dispose of a zombie. And it makes sense that it would be so quick because that part
there's no bone
touching under my chin here is soft, but then they become butterheads later where they can just go right through the skull. And I'm like, no, I don't know about that.
Zombies give you very soft heads.
I guess so, but you can still bite people somehow. The teeth stay hard. Laurie worrying about what if the baby's dead inside her and rips its way out is exactly what I'd be freaking about too. And they are setting us up, or then she says, let's say it lives and I die during childbirth. Herschel says that's not going to happen, but it is exactly what is going to happen. And I'm thinking after Sophia, we probably should have known, but like you said, we're thinking about what happened in the comics. So we were just wondering if Laurie was going to go out that way.
I just could never see them killing a baby on the show. That was the thing that always held me back.
They never did, right? I don't think.
No.
Little kids, but not babies.
Yeah, kids fine. Babies never, ever.
I was thinking, in part, when I first watched this, I was probably just glad to be rid of Shane and wanted the show to prove that it could be good without Shane. Now, I don't feel quite that way. I'm much more into John Bernthal's performance, so I kind of miss him. And then the last thing is, I remember, if I remember right, because I also got to go be a zombie in the finale of this season. And
were you on the prison?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I got to film one scene in the tombs, the hallways there.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't you couldn't just walk around and stuff, but I got the impression that the set was actually pretty small. It was maybe one corner, and then they would just shoot it from different angles to make it look like it was like a maze. Something like that.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, it's so dimly lit, you probably could get away with quite a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure. And Karen was out there with me, and so she said a while back that she would come on for the finale to talk about our experience. So hopefully she still remembers she said that, and she'll come on. We'll see.
Or when you're in Scotland, I'll interview you about it and we can just tack it onto a podcast.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right.
I've got my IMDb deep dive. Scott Wilson had the idea to carry a medical bag when a few of the group members were clearing out the prison. So that was a character choice. I like it. This is actress Denai Guerrera's first time on screen as Michonne. The character of Michonne was introduced at the end of the season 2 finale, but Guerrera didn't portray her as she hadn't been cast at the time. An extra filled in the spot of Michonne in that episode. I don't know if I did my deep dive last time, but in The Talking Dead after the season 2 finale, that was when they announced that Denai Guerrera had been cast. So they did that. They carried the wave then.
Cool.
This episode begins the Safety Behind Bars story arc from the comics. When Carl enters the kitchen of the house, they scavenge the house, and you can see a can of Smeat on the counter. This is the same word they used on Waterworld when they showed the can of supposed spam. So Spam clearly didn't want to sponsor The Walking Dead. Um, Creator Robert Kirkman considers the prison to be a character in the show. The prison set was designed by a Walker, production designer Graham Grace
Oh,
Walker.
wow. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. The method Daryl uses to kill the prison guard Walker by pushing his helmet forward and driving his knife into the base of the Walker's skull is one of the sentry neutralization techniques taught by the US Army.
well,
That's
how do you do it?
Uh, push the helmet forward and get them at the back of the
In the
neck.
back of the skull. Oh, okay.
See, I remember that
Try
from the
that.
X-Files and like how you deal with aliens like stabbing the back of the skull.
Mm.
In the comic, it was Dale and Alan rather than Herschel who had their legs amputated. The writers like to diverge from the original story to keep viewers guessing. I like this one. The episode starts off with a close-up view of an eye and then pans out to show Walker's face. The finale episode for the season starts out the same way, only when the camera pans out, it reveals the governor's face. Possibly a metaphor for how the season starts off with Walker's being the biggest danger to the group and ends with them learning that other people are often a greater threat to them. Ooh.
Yep. By the way, I would say Bob is more the replacement for Dale in the comics. Since it's cannibals.
That's a bit.
You're eating tainted meat. Yeah.
Tainted meat. When they cut the chain link fence to enter the prison, there are no sharp edges when they duck through. It's all been perfectly folded over. I mean, that's just nice that they took the time to do that.
Yeah.
And that is the end.
Took like 5 hours.
Yeah, it took 5 hours. That's why it took them 2 days.
Yeah.
But you know,
Nice.
good for them. Yep.
Okay, let's move on.
Only on The Walking Dead.
Only on The Walking Dead would it bring someone sheer joy to stab a prison guard in the throat, except also on Prison Break, Oz, Orange is the New Black, and Wentworth, possibly.
Only on The Walking Dead would you be pissed when your dad took your dog food away.
Only on The Walking Dead would the guy chopping off his friend's leg be the hero.
Love it. 10 out of 10. Put that on the t-shirt.
Obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Deadcast news update.
Okay, the first item today is a sad one, as anyone who is a Walking Dead fan and follows the news probably knows. The animal actor called Seven, who played Dog on The Walking Dead, has died.
Oh,
Yeah.
so bummed out.
And it was announced on AMC's Instagram last week. It had a picture of Seven and it just said, "Rest in peace, Seven." Hashtag TWD's best boy. And I saw the top response, someone called Kaladrag Pool, who said, quote, "I had the pleasure of working with Seven for The Walking Dead press tour. I was a zombie actor. I was told that he was a working dog and wouldn't want me to pet him. In between performances, he would nudge my twisted zombie hand with his nose. He indeed wanted some pets. He was the goodest boy."
Oh my God.
I know. And Norman Reedus posted pictures of him and Seven over the years and wrote, "Gonna miss you, Seven," and a broken heart emoji, and said, "Best TV buddy ever." So
So Seven's not going to get to France, I guess.
I guess
No dog.
not. Yeah, I mean,
Dog.
maybe they'll have a Seven look-alike, as they tend to do sometimes, but I don't know.
It'll be the same.
Yeah, it won't be the same. Yeah. And other actors from the show, I guess, posted on Reedus's Instagram saying nice things. And one of them was Leah, who was Seven's
Of course.
original owner. You know, that actor.
I mean, we do overlook the fact that Dog is a traitor and did pick Leah. So, like,
That's right. But it was just, don't blame the actor for
No.
that.
Seven was not
Seven
responsible.
was a good
for that.
boy. Yeah.
Seven was a good boy. Long may he rest in peace.
Yeah. Next, as we said last time, Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, it's such a long title to say, is set to film on September 29th. I mean, not film, premiere. And they're just going to stream it live.
Yeah.
Action, everyone. In an interview with Collider, Norman Reedus said he thinks there's still plenty of stories to be told about Daryl. Quote, I think it's got some time left in it. I want that character to end correctly. It started correctly, and I put too much work into it to be a drone shot waving goodbye. You know what I mean? I want him to get his justice. I don't know what he means by that. It still has a huge fan base. You get mobbed all the time because of that show. In France, when the posters went up, it was bananas. We're about to start season 3, which I don't even know if that's been announced or he was supposed to say.
Yeah.
He said, but I will say the finale of season 2 is the best 1 hour Walking Dead anything ever. I've said it in press before. I stick to it. It's mind blowing.
Wow.
He always exaggerates.
I hope it's him and Rick just having a big old smooch or
Right.
something. Like,
having tea or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it'll be great. I'm
Oh,
looking
well,
forward
season
to it.
3. There we go.
There you go. This kind of slipped by me, but Norman Reedus is in a movie that just came out called The Bike Riders.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it stars, he has a supporting role. It stars Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon, and Norman Reedus as Funny Sonny. And apparently he looks very different in it. So,
Wow.
cool.
I saw I watched Hitman the other weekend, and Austin Emilio had quite a big role in it.
Oh, that's cool. I like him.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird seeing him not with a burned face.
Yeah.
I kept being like,
Dwight.
whoa.
Yeah. We just did, for Patreon, we did our top 10 directors. 5. And Richard Linklater was one of mine. And he did that baseball movie, Everybody Wants Some, that Austin Emilio was also in. That was interesting.
I really like Austin Emilio. I think he's a great actor. And I say this probably out of vanity more than anything. I'm older than Austin Emilio. I didn't think that. I thought he was older than me. I was like, all right, he's like early to mid 30s. I'm like, okay.
You know, occasionally I would tell stories during this rewatch of what it was like to be around these guys during Walker Stalker. And I would try to plan these fun games, like we'd call it Sictionary, where we'd call the actors up on stage and do Pictionary, and they'd be 2 teams of 2, and then we call 2 people up from, the audience to be on each team too. So it was 3 versus 3. Anyway, Austin Emilio was always game to do those kinds of things. Sometimes the other actors would get tired of it, but he was always game. So that was really fun.
I really like that.
Yeah.
He seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
So.
But I want to just say a little bit more about this. So it's called The Bike Riders. It has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. The synopsis says it's set in the 1960s. It follows the ride of Vandals MC, a Chicago outlaw motorcycle club. Seen through the lives of its members and their families, the club evolves over the course of a decade from a surrogate family for local outcasts into a violent organized crime syndicate threatening the original founders' unique vision and way of life. And the synopsis says, fueled by a charismatic cast and the gritty authenticity of writer-director Jeff Nichols' approach, The Bike Riders offers a conventional yet impactful look at motorcycle culture. So I'll watch that just to see, Norman Reedus.
Yeah, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Next, the Walking Dead Deluxe, they're re-releasing monthly Walking Dead comics, this time in color and with notes in the back from Kirkman. It's really cool. And they've had a bunch of revelations from him about certain plans he had for the story in the comic that changed over time.
Okay.
So he had planned to kill off Andrea in issue 5. She ended up being one of the longest living characters.
Yes, she did.
He'd planned to have Maggie kill Negan before he had a chance to reform. He had the script written, but I guess he changed his mind because of input from Charlie Adlard, the illustrator.
Oh, Charlie, you've caused us a world of pain here.
I much prefer Negan's story in the comics. I think Jeffrey Negan's amazing at how he plays him, but I prefer the way they did his story in the comics. Kirkman considered having Shane kill Rick in issue 6. That would have been crazy.
That would have been wild.
And Carl would have seen it, but Shane wouldn't have known that Carl saw it. So that would have caused a lot of weirdness. He said Shane would have been the first real big villain in the book, and he would have been with the group on the same side as them, the enemy sleeping the next tent over.
Ooh.
Crazy. I'm glad they didn't do that. Then he said for a long time he was going to end the story with the zombies having taken over the world and everyone dead.
I remember reading this. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said over time he started to realize that's too bleak. I can't do that. He even told like Norman Reedus and Greg Nicotero about it, and he said they pretended to like it or something. And then he said the one thing that he never considered that people always ask him about or suggest is having Rick wake up from his coma and it was all a dream. He said, I would never do that.
Yeah. No, that'd be lame.
Yeah. And then last, the Podcastica Best Character Tournament Part 2 is over. We had it on the Podcastica group where it listed out 111 characters from Podcastica covered shows and then pit them together in a bracket style tournament. So it would be 2 at a time and we'd vote over the course of a day and whoever won would go on to the next round. And out of the shows were all the shows we cover: Stranger Things, Rings of Power, White Lotus, Cobra Kai, Game of Thrones, of course, The Walking Dead. And I'm going to give who went into the last few rounds and see if you can guess who won each vote. Because you haven't seen any of that, right?
No, I've seen nothing. I'm a Facebook hermit. I don't do it.
Yeah, so that can be a benefit. So in a lot of ways. So for you. So quarterfinals, Maggie versus Baby Yoda.
Maggie.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And she also beat Negan, which was a close race, but she beat Negan. Daryl versus Carol.
Oh.
Tough, right? That's what it's like to play this game. You're like, I got to kill one of my children.
It's on the group, so I'm going to say Daryl.
You're right. Yeah, but it was close. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be.
Michonne versus Arya Stark.
Oh, I'd love to see it. I'm going to say Michonne.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the last one in the quarterfinals, Tyrion Lannister versus John Dory.
Tyrion.
Yeah. But John made it that far. I mean,
John's
to
great.
Quarterfinals, yeah.
Fantastic.
If anything good came out of Fear the Walking Dead, it was John Dory.
It was him. The two of them, I would love to see the two of them have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. They'd be best of buds. John would give him a little caramel candy and Tyrion would drink to it.
Tyrion would love it. He'd drink some bourbon.
Okay, here's the semifinals. Maggie versus Daryl.
Daryl.
Yep.
Yep.
Good, you're getting them all. Michonne versus Tyrion.
Michonne.
Nope.
No, Tyrion.
Yep.
Oh.
Tyrion's a powerhouse.
Wow.
And
okay.
the final is Daryl versus Tyrion. Who won?
Daryl.
Yeah, you're right. Daryl won. And then, so we've done this a couple of years back, and Rick Grimes won. And so we left Rick out this time until the very end and had Daryl versus Rick. So who do you think won that one?
I hope Rick, but I think probably Daryl.
It was Rick, but it was close.
Oh, it would be. That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
Both worthy.
And then some people were complaining, you should have less Walking Dead characters because they're always going to win in this group. And I'm like, well, it's about our favorite characters, and it's we're kind of biased. So
the Walking Dead group, lads, get over it. Like, we love you all, and it's great.
It was fun
for so many shows. I was just like, I wonder if just underneath it all we still have more of a Walking Dead fan base. But Tyrion and Arya getting that far, nice.
Yeah. And when we did it the first time, I think it was in 2022, it came down to almost the same few characters at the end, and Tyrion did beat Daryl then. So it was Tyrion versus Rick in the end. But we were closer to Game of Thrones, I think, and Daryl didn't have his spinoff, so maybe, and it was a slightly different group of people.
It was a different time.
But, it's close.
Interesting. Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it was really fun. All right, let's move along to listener moans, groans, and grunts.
Beth Nichols says, I'm so excited to be in season 3 finally. I love the Governor. I think season 3 is quite a pivotal series for our main characters, especially Maggie, Daryl, Rick, and even Carl.
Yep, and Herschel.
And Herschel.
Josie Bonectal says, I love this episode. It always sticks out in my mind. It's the first time we see the gang handle a group of walkers in this methodical way, and it really is a turning point. The tension between Rick and Lori is so uncomfortable. It really highlights the true love we later see between Rick and Michonne. A totally different, more passionate love than with Lori. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry to say, but Lori's belly is ridiculous.
So I don't like to comment on women's bodies. Like, it's cool. But it
It's
does
not
look kind
real,
of
though.
fake, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it looks fake. It fake. It no look great. It no look great.
She goes on, I love Carol's excitement when they clear the prison. It's so crazy to watch old scenes and see her growth. Yeah, we're witnessing it firsthand. The iconic scenes with her and Daryl on top of the bus. Little Shane's got a big appetite and want to screw around. I love those two. Heart emoji. So excited that I'm finally off work for the summer. I'm a teacher. Oh, nice. And can dedicate an hour a week to the rewatch again. I'll try not to get ahead this time.
Oh, Josie.
Yeah, glad
Always
you're
so
doing
good to hear from you. Andy Fisher, who always signs off with 5 slices of pizza and a ring, which I love. He says, Dear Jason and Lucy, Seed is fantastic. This was the first Walking Dead episode I saw, and it was so well done, and yada, 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 13 years later. The look is impeccable. Sunburns, thin, sweaty, dirty, grimy, athletic. The opening scene tells so much about the characters, systematically, methodically, working together without words, staying one step ahead of the dead. Setting the season in the prison is so interesting. That what was once the end of freedom is instead here a beginning, hope, security. Only on The Walking Dead, the worst place on earth becomes home. This episode
I like
made me
that.
fall in love with the show, and may it never end. I mean, at this rate, Andy, it probably won't. So you're probably
That's right. Yep. All right, here's Archmaester Rennie,
Hey, Rennie.
who's, I'll just mention right now, Rennie, Wendy, and Veronica have their first episode out for Dragon Cast, covering House of the Dragon episode, season 2, episode 1. And yeah, they're great together, and I'm happy that they're going to be covering the rest of the show. So if you're a fan, check that out.
Really do. It's great.
And here she is.
In this episode, we see what I think is my favorite thing in all of The Walking Dead, which is Michonne flicking blood off of her katana with that just casual wrist movement. So slick, so cool. But I have a Department of Suspension of Disbelief item for this episode, which is, how is it that that white calfskin wrap on the hilt and the scabbard of that katana stays so clean amidst so much zombie blood? Inexplicable. That's all.
It's just because she's so damn cool that it just happens.
Yep. So
She's clean.
just can't even say water off a duck's back.
All right. Thanks, Rennie. Here's Diane Ryan. I love this episode, from Carol enjoying her massage from Daryl to the classic stuff and things from Rick and Maggie's joy over working out how to kill the zombies with the helmets. They have become such a great team in the time between the two seasons, relying and trusting each other. Except Rick and Lori's relationship is worse than ever. Rick almost doesn't even want to speak to her. It's also has a real creepy section when they enter the prison and you don't know what's going to jump out at them, to the perfect ending of Herschel getting bitten and finding the prisoners. I also think this was probably the episode that sent me looking for a podcast to listen to about it, and I found yours.
Yay!
I think I've mentioned this recently, but I think that is our most downloaded episode ever for some reason. Season 3, episode 1.
I think that's like peak Walking Dead initial buzz. I think you've reminded me, Diane, about when T-Dog like pulls the helmet and all the goop just comes out of it. Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah.
This episode. Ugh. Fiona Jennifer Neal says, hi, Jason and Lucy from Fiona in Scotland. Yay.
Hello.
I love the first 2 seasons. Like, I love a good origin story, but this is where the show really takes off for me. I've been listening to the podcast since The Ones Who Live. Oh, and thought it was time to say hello as we enter my favorite Walking Dead era. Thank you for your fantastic coverage of one of my favorite shows. I'm officially hooked. This episode is great, although I do find it hilarious that they've been circling the prison for 7 months.
Yeah.
Fiona, we agree. I love seeing how organized the group has become, but it's sad to see them so far from living and reduced to basic survival. The prison is the beacon of hope that the group desperately needed. I forgot that Herschel got bit so early on and that Michonne did have clean bandana once upon a time. I can't wait to see what else I've forgotten. Bye for now. Oh, thanks for writing in, Fiona.
Yeah, I love it when we hear from new listeners this far in. That's great.
Great.
Here's Wendy.
Hey, this is...
Who's another host?
Yeah.
Veronica, why didn't you call in?
Yeah, Veronica. Come on, Veronica.
Wendy. And I'm giving feedback for season 3, episode 1, Seed. I loved the cold open. You could really feel the group's desperation. It felt more apocalyptic than most scenes we see in The Walking Dead. I don't know how to explain that, but just them searching for the food, seeing what's left, the briefness of it, the panic, the distress, you could really feel all of that. And then the other thing I wanted to ask about was the brief scene between Carol and Daryl. Like, I know this pair has been platonic for a very long time and they're friends, but it did feel like there was some sexual chemistry here. And I feel like Carol was being serious about her question or offer or proposal. And I think maybe it started out that way and then it became very much just a friend thing. I don't know what everybody's take on it, but I definitely felt sexual chemistry between the two of them here.
I'd never even considered that, but now that she says it, it seems plausible, at least that the way that Carol said that, it's like you want to screw around some more almost, you know, like we do sometimes.
Imagine if that was the reveal at the end. It's just like, oh, by the way, we were doing
We've
it
been together this whole time.
I
I don't think so, though. I would guess not, but maybe. What about you?
And it's a good reading. It's not how I see it, but I don't hate it. So yeah, why not?
But I just love that they have this strong friendship that didn't really go there, you know.
Yeah,
I
I think it's
friendship.
good to see that. It's good to see that kind of platonic ideal.
And they're so close, and I can't wait for. Now I'm getting more excited for the Daryl show.
No.
Jennifer Palumbo says, to weigh in on Laurie Holden / Andrea likability debates, I wanted to share an old article I read recently because it sounds like we were not supposed to like her at the beginning. The following is a quote from Darabont. Quote, Laurie's role in The Walking Dead was intended by me to have a substantial character arc that never transpired. She would go from being a mentally jangled, super self-absorbed, badly traumatized and angry girl to the opposite end of the spectrum, their most reliable soldier, an ace sniper, and a grown-ass woman who becomes all about self-sacrifice and protecting the group. Why would you say grown-ass woman unless he intended maybe to hire a younger actor at first? Or that's a weird. Anyway, and her relationship with Dale would blossom into a very deep May-December situation, a real marriage based in deep abiding feelings and respect. I aim for characters and situations based in messy and complicated feelings, as happens in life. I love that. And no, she was never intended to be a love interest for Rick. As I read somewhere, she was never meant to be thrown away as zombie food, nor was Dale, for that matter, nor was Glenn.
That's interesting. I am a bit like, did you not read the comics though? Frank Darabont.
You mean about Glenn specifically, or something else?
Yeah, Dale and Glenn. Yeah, I'm a bit like, well, and they also never intended to be a love interest for Rick. I'm like,
yeah, and maybe he said this before that even happened. I don't know, you know, because
maybe
it was a bit
it's
later.
interesting to know that he, is saying that about how it was portrayed.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that. Thank you for sharing it. We've got Gemma Hall preview for next week because I think Gemma's joining us for season 3, episode 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Gemma says, this is probably one of my favorite episodes. I absolutely love it. The silence at the beginning sequence is masterful and shows the cohesion of a group that have spent a winter together. The prison invasion is so captivating and tense. I must have seen it countless times. Rick keeps pushing the group further and further in, but it is working as they are one almost. Beth singing and then Maggie joining in is emotional. There's the flirtation with Daryl and Carol that sent fans wild, but never me, as I know they're best friends. The tension between Rick and Laurie is palpable.
Lick and Rory, I think.
Lick and Rory. I'm sorry. And has worsened over the winter. It's life or death now, and Rick knew he had to bring them in the prison and risk the consequences. There is a feeling of relief now when they finally enter the cell block and are safe, but it doesn't last long, and honestly, Herschel getting bit and the leg chopping was one of the most effed up things ever. Loved the reveal of the prisoners too. The dingy, bloody atmosphere really started season 3 with a bang, and I remember being so overjoyed and freaked out. Like, yes, Walking Dead is back in the house, and it's amazing.
Exactly.
I can't get enough, really. Oh, thanks, Gemma.
Yeah, looking forward to talking to you next time.
Definitely.
Here's Steve Brown.
Hello, the cast of us. This is Steve, and this is for Season 3, Episode 1, Seed. What do they think they are? Lost? Opening up on an eye-opening. Okay, how long has it been? The group has gotten a little proficient. They got guns with silencers, and even Carl's walking around with a gun with a silencer on it. Okay, it's been quite a bit, because Lori's showing quite a bit. Oh, is that the prison that Rick and Daryl are seeing right now? And Daryl says that's a shame at first, but that's going to change. Ooh, good shot, Daryl, saving Rick. It occurs to me, this is really how... they're going to become proficient. This having to take the prison like this, they're going to become proficient at killing walkers. Herschel just used the word seed. Mic drop. Talking about planting, of course. Okay, so who's Daryl calling Little Shane? Is he calling Rick that? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Forgot
baby.
about this little flirting between
baby.
Carol and Daryl. I'm glad it never went anywhere like romantically with them, though. And Lauren Cohan and Emily Kinney do sound really good together singing. And we have the first I'm doing stuff, Lori. Thanks. And we have our first glimpse of Michonne. And I'm assuming Lori's with her somewhere. Michonne, very proficient with that katana. Oh, and Rick takes out the one with the gas mask because they all figured out now they got to knife him underneath their helmets. But, ugh. So they've secured one cell block, and now they can rest a little bit. Herschel chuckling at Beth and Carl. I don't think there was anything meant by that. I think Carl's just innocent, but he's got a little bit of a crush on Beth, maybe. Carl does, I mean. Okay, so now we're back to Michonne. Of course, we don't know it's Michonne yet. We haven't heard her speak, and we haven't seen Lori yet either. Okay, I keep saying Lori. I mean Andrea. Lori Holden's the actor. Okay, so how long has it been? Because Andrea just said all winter. I know Rick said something about through the winter. Of course, Lucy's probably already explained this when she gave the timeline. Oh, I never even thought about that fear of the baby being stillborn in the womb and being a walker. Ooh, everybody's suiting up except Rick to go take the next cell block. And Daryl, because Daryl said he wouldn't wear that stuff. Oh, this is tense with the flashlights and it's dark and all the walkers and now they're separated. Oh, and Herschel just got bit. Rick hacking into Herschel's leg. Oh, and we have prisoners. And of course, that's where the episode ends. All right, on to next week.
Oh, Steve revisited. I love it.
Yeah. Sounds like he hasn't seen it in a while, which is
when
cool.
we get to like season 10, will Steve the live Steve, and then we'll like be through the looking glass. Like he'll listen to his live Steve and comment on the original
comment
live
on what he said. Oh, I made a comment about such and such.
Yeah, I think that would be like through the looking glass. I love it.
Do at least one of those. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Billy Thompson says the opening to this episode really highlights how rough the winter's been for them, but also how badass they are now. I remember seeing this episode for the first time and thinking, damn, Carl's so cool now.
Yeah.
I always wondered what the winter would have been like and would have loved to see it in the show. Yeah, we did too. And they had a lot of wintry stuff in the comic, but they just can't do it in Georgia. I know we see a glimpse of this later in the series. That's true. But would you guys have liked to see it earlier and a bit more fleshed out?
Definitely.
Yeah. Maybe just a one episode recap of the time in between that night on the farm and now, or maybe in flashbacks throughout the season. I would have loved that, seeing Daryl with underwear wrapped around his head like they do in the comics. I forgot about that.
Excellent.
That's funny. Carol asking Daryl if he wanted to screw around was hilarious. Still can't tell if she was completely joking or maybe would have given it a go in that moment, but I'm happy they do just end up best friends. Mm-hmm. Such an iconic scene when Beth sings, famously followed up by Stuff and Things. Michonne's opening scene was incredible. All that walker killing was awesomeness. For 2 packets of aspirin, I'll take it. I mean, it was like all that coolness and like, oh, badass. And the reward was some dog food they don't even want and an owl.
2 packets of aspirin.
Overall, one of my favorite episodes for sure. We really are starting to head towards peak Walking Dead now. I love it. Sorry it's a long one, but there's so much to talk about this episode. One last thing, I promise. My Don't Get Bit t-shirt came yesterday. I did show it off in all its glory in the rewatch chat. Just wanted to say it's brilliant, really comfy, fits well, and came to me in the UK a lot faster than scheduled. Super happy with it. I would 100% recommend getting one if anyone's been thinking about it, and I guess it helps the show, right? Anyway, thanks, guys. Bye. Well, yeah. So there's, we had this listener back in the day who was this really cool artist, and he drew a few shirts for us. One says "Don't Get Bit" and has a grody looking zombie, and another one says "Fuckity fuck fuck not T-Dog fuck," and it has T-Dog on it, right? And they're really cool, and they're on Redbubble, and I just kind of forgot about them, but they're still up there. So and I didn't even read this at the time, so I didn't know he was going to say it, but maybe I'll put a link in the show notes if you guys want to. I think they're almost at cost. I think it's just like a couple, $2-3 above cost or something like that. Yeah.
I have one that's you on it, like
Me?
Podcastico one. Yeah. Purple, and like you've got headphones on, and it's like it says like Podcastica Network or something like that. I don't know. I didn't make it myself. I like for sure bought it.
I totally don't remember what that is.
I'll bring it to Scotland.
Okay.
What did it say on it? Because I have two. Because anyway, this is really boring. Don't include it in the podcast. I have two because I accidentally cut one with a pair of scissors when I was trying to get out the envelope. And Redbubble, for some reason, were like,
"Is it me and Karen or just me?"
It's just you.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, Peter always laughs. He's like, "It's really funny that you have Jason merch." I'm like, "Yeah." It was a thing, like for round about your birthday. No, your 50th.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll find a picture of it.
I'm
later.
only 35, so I don't know.
Yeah,
what
that's
you're talking
true.
about.
I'm talking shit. Andrea Maitland says, "Hi, Jason and Lucy. I'm writing in about Seed, but before I get into that, I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed listening to Jason's experience on the show as a zombie. How fun to be on one of your favorite shows. Personally, I couldn't do it because I would spend the whole time trying to get next to Norman Reedus, aka Daryl Dixon. Hey, zombie, get back to your spot." Anyway, as for Seed, I always thought the opening was so badass. All of them communicating without a word, killing walkers like assassins, and organized like some kind of tactical team. Very cool. I loved seeing them get to the prison. When Carol shoots too close to Rick from the tower, sorry, not the killer she will become, but it's a start. Speaking of Carol, the scene on top of the bus. Now, I know the Daryl and Carol thing is always a black and white thing, so don't be mad at me. I've always been for them being together, so I loved this scene. But rewatching also made me realize that it's just another sign of Carol becoming who she becomes. It takes a lot of nerve to ask someone if they want to fool around. Whether she was playing or not, good for Carol. Daryl, of course, being awkward, has always brushed it off, but this is Daryl who threw a fish at Leah's door because he liked her. LOL. Moving on to Rick and Laurie, I have to say, even though, as I've mentioned before, I don't like Laurie, I felt sorry for her with her pregnant belly trying to talk to Rick. She brought it on herself, but still, it must be so scary to be in her shoes in a zombie apocalypse. Anyway, I could go on about this episode, but I would be here all day. If I sum it up, it just really shows how they've all come together and started becoming the family we love. As always, thank you for your great podcast. I listen to others sometimes, but no one does it like you guys. Andrea.
Thanks, Andrea.
Nice.
All right, here's Alex Kruger.
Hey, y'all. Alex Kruger here, leaving feedback for The Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 1, Seed. I love that the episode and the season open up on a close-up of an eye. I imagine it's not a nod to Lost, but I also won't rule out that it's not a reference to the show. And is this
they like Damon Lindelof and the other guy, Carl? No, what was his name? Anyway, Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. They had a podcast about Lost that I listened to every week, and they were really funny on there. And they were the two showrunners, right? And they would always joke that there was going to be a 7th zombie season of Lost.
Oh, that would be fun.
So I wonder, I don't know if this was like a nod to that or something. I don't know.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Top 5 cold open in TV history. Wordless action and storytelling, comedy and tragedy, and letting us know so much right up front. These folks are unified. They've leveled up their combat skills. They're organized, but they also look like shit. Carol says it later. I think it deserves to be repeated. Often we ask ourselves, what if Shane, in any number of situations, but it never matters because Carol is entirely right that Shane never could have kept them together and alive for 7 or so months of nomadic living. It wasn't ever going to work. Although I think Rick could loosen up in a post-apocalyptic world and appreciate that the dog food is probably a half-decent find for their situation right now. Now, it's always fun when a new season begins to get to see where everyone's new look is at. And my 2 favorite glow-ups here are first Herschel for his late-stage George Carlin look. Honestly, he looks like chill personified. But also Glenn. I don't remember him being so buff or fit last season, but he has clearly benefited from endless stab and recoil in zombies' heads. That must be a top-level workout. But we get to one of...
Yeah, this is like a clear change in Glenn, too. And I always miss the goofy Glenn, but he's more the hero now.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
My favorite characters in the entire series. They were teased last season and then shown properly today. No, not her. We'll get to Michonne. I'm talking about the prison. In both the comics and the show, the prison plays such an important role. And so much story is being set up here that won't fully pay off for another 5 to 7 seasons. The whole organized hand-to-hand clearing of the courtyard and the cell blocks is absolutely brilliant. I gotta wonder, is there like a good first-person shooter out there that plays out the beats of the game? I know there's that recent release that lets you rewrite story decisions, but I mean just a straight play-along. Because how much freaking fun would that be for episodes like this?
I don't think there
now,
is.
Is this
Not
the
that I
first
know of.
episode in which we see Daryl's iconic poncho? I can't remember if we saw it last year or not. And again, while I understand people ship teas of Carol and Daryl, and trust me, I see it, I get it. After all this time, it really does feel like siblings. You know, they always have each other's backs, totally love each other, would be there no matter what. God, I love seeing this bond blossom. Michonne said under 25 words in this episode. I don't know how important that fact is, but I think I'm going to see how long it takes her to get to 500 words. You know, for funsies. And lastly, I have to give the MVP award this week to Sarah Wayne Callies and Lori. Lori has gotten a ton of hate every time I watch this series, but her performance in this episode is truly heartbreaking. From trying to get anything out of Rick to having horrible childbirth fears of situations more suited for George R.R. Martin's realm, she had the most moving performance. It's a shame her time is almost over.
Yeah.
But that's it for me this week. Keep up the good work, and as always, don't get bit.
Yeah, she has one of the most moving performances ever in her final scene.
She really does. I'm kind of dreading it.
Bracing ourselves. Thanks, Alex.
It's wonderful, Alex. Thank you.
Rachel Teal Edwards says, my God, this episode's nearly perfect. From the powerfully silent cold open to Axel's first appearance and everything in between. Seriously, so much happens in this episode. It reminds me why we were all so frustrated in later Gimple seasons when literally nothing happened for months on end. I'm so curious how we're going to react to seasons 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Once we get to them, if we'll
It's going to
find
be
more
interesting
to like than we think or not.
Yeah.
And we may end up covering multiple episodes at once if we feel like that's what we should do, to get through it. I remember watching this episode for the first time and being so excited to see that everyone had grown into capable, unafraid, badass walker-killing machines. I love seeing the group in this absolutely ragged state, too. What a time they must have had. There's something about Herschel's look especially that makes me immediately love him so much more. I know, me too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Herschel, Scott Wilson is flawless in this episode. Did you notice when he says the part in glass? Oh, I love him. His request for Beth to sing is so genuine and pure. That scene feels incongruous, but I think that's the point. He's great in the... Wait, I don't know. Why is it incongruous? Because they're singing? I thought it was nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell me what you mean by that, Rachel.
It was a human moment, I feel like. Yeah.
Take a little moment to have a little joy every once in a while. He's great in conversation with Lori too. Quote, you know who doesn't give a shit about that? The vulgarity, Herschel. My goodness, the road has changed you. And of course, the Walker bite. Who could forget such horror? What a phenomenal actor. If anyone is interested and doesn't already know, Emily Kinney's song, I Went Looking for You, is about Scott Wilson. I did not know that.
I didn't know
She
that.
wrote it after his passing. Have tissues ready. Oh, I'm starting to cry right now. I actually have a decent amount of sympathy for Lori this week. She's obviously terrified with good reason, and it seems Rick closed himself off to her completely after the events of last episode. Rick decided that the only priority is keeping everyone alive and finding a safe place. Marriage things are a luxury he doesn't have the capacity for. Or maybe he just doesn't have anything nice to say, so he's not saying anything at all, as Lori suspects. Both scenes of the group clearing out the prison yard are so satisfying, but I especially love the way they methodically work their way through in a back-to-back circle in the morning. It makes me think, hell yes, they kind of have their shit together now and should not be messed with. And they do the same thing in Alexandria in season 6. I love it then too. Final thoughts. 1, the Daryl Carol scene is so cringe, I fucking brace myself for it every time. See, different people react to that very differently. 2, Laurie Holden plays sick really well. Like I had to remind myself she was acting. She went and made out with someone with a flu for that scene because she's method. That's what
This
I
is
heard.
actually where COVID started. Pretty sure.
3, I'm just kidding about that, by the way. 3, the face getting ripped off the prison guard is so sick. 4, the last 6 minutes are basically the best horror movie I've ever seen. Holy shit. My thoughts exactly, Axel. Nice, Rachel. I've really been enjoying your emails.
Yeah, it's always so good to hear from you.
And we got one more call, and it's from Renee.
Renee.
Hi guys, this is Renee calling in from Fairburn about The Walking Dead. I hate to admit it, but this is the very first episode that I felt a little sympathy for Laurie. I mean, she is 9 months pregnant. That baby bump, whoever did that baby bump, that look horrible. It looks horrible. It does not look real. They need to get fired. Whoever did that, that's awful. But I did have sympathy for her because 9 months pregnant, you out in the wilderness, running here, there, and Rick, but it's her fault. It's her fault. So, and then of course, Daryl brought me back down to reality when he said little Shane has worked up quite a big appetite. It's like, Daryl, you ruined it for her. Like, girl, you are horrible. Everyone there knows that Shane is your baby daddy. Awful, 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 awful. But that allows me to segue into Daryl. Daryl, oh my God, his arc is super amazing to me. I never paid Daryl any attention because I'm like you, Jason. This is my first time ever doing a rewatch of The Walking Dead. And I did not notice Daryl because he was always dirty. He was always gruff. He was always a loner. I just did not pay Daryl any attention. Daryl's arc to me is the best ever because he went from being a loner. I couldn't even tell really whether he was a part of the group until actually this episode because it's like every time Rick made a move, he would call Daryl. And I realized the bromance started actually in this episode for me. Also, Michonne and Rick, when I watched it the first time, I was like, oh, they look so cute together. I wish they get together. But now I notice that whenever Rick and Laurie get into an argument, they cut to Michonne. I noticed that last time and I noticed this time. And I noticed when they made it inside the prison, Rick slid down the wall and they cut to Michonne. So evidently they've been shipping them for a long time. I've been shipping them just because I think they look cute together. But Maggie Ree, oh, she bad. Like that, I love Maggie Ree. Seriously, this is my episode. I fell in love with her as well because she's a bad girl. And Jason, this is what I wanted to say to you as far as Michonne. Last week, you was like, Renee, I was with you until you said that Michonne took care of his kids, took care of Rick's kids. Michonne did take care of Rick's kids. She did make sure Rick's kids were good. Now, did she leave them to go and find their father? Yes, she did, which is what I would have did as well. Because she left them with Daryl. She left them with Rosita, Gabriel, Carol, Father Gabriel, Carol, King Ezekiel. She left them in good hands. And she didn't know that she was going to be gone that long. Because even in The Ones Who Live, she was saying, do you think I'm not beating myself over the fact that I have left my kids? That I left my kids for you. But she didn't know that she was going to be gone that long. I think she thought that she was going to come, she was going to come back and, whatever. But she ended up being out there for a very long time. But I would have did the same thing. If something happened to my husband and I got an inkling, some type of sign that he was out there, I'm going to get my man, I'm going to get my husband and bring him back to his children, which is what she did. So I'm okay with that. I thought, but again, I respect that you felt totally different, Jason. All right, talk to you guys later. Peace and love. Bye.
Bye, Renee.
It's all the CRM's fault.
It's all the CRM. Let's just blame the CRM. Boo. And scheduling conflicts. Boo. Jennifer Neal.